thank you very much, Suad. I'm delighted to be invited to speak in this distinguished panel. The relationship between the Kingdom of Bahrain and the State of Israel stands as a testament on how peace can bring about stability and prosperity, both on a bilateral level as well as on a regional level. This has always been the vision of His Majesty, King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. From the hosting of the Peace to Prosperity Workshop in 2019 to open a dialogue on economic cooperation for the benefit of the people of the region, and later with the signing of the Abraham Accord in 2020. Today, as we look back at the milestones that we achieved together with Israel in the past 17 months since the establishment of relations between our two countries, we have established embassies, we have exchanged ambassadors, we have signed 38 agreements and MOUs in a broad sector of political, economic, and social fields. We have launched a direct flight via Bahrain's national carrier Gulf Air since the 30th of September of last year. And as these milestones remain crucial in setting a solid foundation for the cooperation between our two countries, the aspirations remain high, and what is yet to come is even more astonishing. We are working closely with Israel on developing a 10-year joint war and peace strategy, one that would synchronize our goals, one that would specify and indicate the key areas of interest between our two countries, and it will bring our officials, our experts, our peoples closer together into building a better future for the peoples of the two countries. These areas include innovation and technology, trade and investment, healthcare, environmental protection, sustainable energy, education, religious and cultural coexistence. And finally, I believe sharing a joint vision and a strategy would showcase the fruits of peace, but will also show that peace is indeed a cornerstone for stability and prosperity in the region, and it will crush any existing doubts and skepticism that are meant to serve certain agendas to keep the current status quo, and it would encourage others who are seeking change to follow in our footsteps. Well, since the signing of the Abraham Accords on the 15th of September of 2020, there has been lots of speculations that surfaced in the region. Many have supported and admired this move and expressed full support to it. Others have rejected it because it contradicts with its diverse and extremist agendas in the region. And the majority of the people were silent. They ranged from skepticism to cautious optimism. And I believe one of the main challenges would be to try to get as much support as possible from the latter group. As for the Palestinian cause, Bahrain's position has been and will always be in support of the Palestinian cause. This is a particular matter that is in the cornerstone of Bahrain's foreign policy. Establishing relations with Israel does not mean abandoning or changing the position of Bahrain towards Palestine and the historical rights for the Palestinian people to establish their own independent state with east of Jerusalem as its capital. All of the countries, Bahrain, the Emirates, Morocco, and Sudan, are for this two-state solution, as well as in support for the Arab Peace Initiative. In fact, we do believe that signing the Abraham Accords and having relations with Israel will, in fact, take us a step closer towards that, because we do believe that only through dialogue, through engagement, through mutual understanding and respect, that would happen. This is expected. We realize that. And we also do realize that within the Israeli government, there's not a single position across that. We understand that. But again, we have our engagements, we have our talks with our colleagues within the Israeli Foreign Affairs. And I recall the last visit of Foreign Minister Lapid to Bahrain on the 30th of September of last year, where he held a press conference with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Abdulatif Al-Zayani. And he said publicly in a press conference that he does support the two-state solution. So having an Israeli foreign minister saying that from Bahrain is unprecedented. We do realize it might not represent the official stand of the Israeli government, but at least we realize there are different views across the different political parties in Israel for different solutions. Well, accusations are endless. If we go through that path, we'll never finish. But speaking of the security cooperation, there has been lots of speculations when relations were established between Bahrain and Israel, especially on the security intelligence front. There is intelligence cooperation between Bahrain and Israel. The Mossad is in Bahrain, and they're present in the region.
Are you making comments or are you being sarcastic? I just want to make sure that everybody understands that.
If you'll allow me to finish, please.
Please, by all means, I just want to make sure you explain.
If this security cooperation between Bahrain and Israel would mean providing more stability and security, so be it. If it would mean saving the lives of innocent civilians, so be it. That is why, during a number of visits for the head of the Mossad to Bahrain, it was publicly announced in the Bahrain News Agency, probably for the first time. It was announced back in September 2020 and in May 2021 that, yes, the head of the Mossad was received by his counterpart in Bahrain.
Okay.
So we do believe security cooperation, intelligence cooperation is part of our ongoing partnership between Bahrain and Israel, and it will continue.
So have you used NSO spyware against human rights defenders?
Can you repeat your question?
Have you used NSO spyware by the name of Pegasus against human rights defenders?
Just as the minister has specified, this matter has been dealt with previously, and publicly the company has announced that there was no dealing with Bahrain. Well, many countries have supported the Abraham Accords from the very beginning, and Germany was one of the first countries to do so. We would like to express our appreciation to Germany in general, but to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in particular. They have offered to host a trilateral youth program, to have a Bahraini, Israeli, and German youth to be hosted here in Germany to foster the people-to-people relation. And such programs, we do believe, are very much important because this is more about the people-to-people relationship and the youth more than the governments and the official aspect of that. So thanks to Germany for that, and we look forward to the implementation of this program, hopefully later this year. As for my colleague from Pakistan, sorry, I'm giving you my back, but we cannot change history. We can change the present, and we can share the future. I believe that with the steps that are being taken would certainly enhance whatever hindrance there has been for the past so many decades. We all share the burden with our Palestinian brothers, and we certainly will continue our efforts to intensifying any discussions, dialogue, to reach a just and a comprehensive solution for the Palestinian people. Coordination is ongoing, and we certainly do believe this will take time. It will not happen overnight, but we remain to be focused and determined, and channels of discussions and dialogue must be continuous and reflective of all of the concerns that have been for the past many, many decades. Minister Gantz, when he visited Bahrain early this month, he wrote an op-ed in the Gulf Daily News. He called it the Abraham Causeway. And I believe all what we are doing closely together is building bridges and causeways of prosperity and stability. And I believe that all of us collectively need to have this as successful as possible. The more successful the Abraham Accords are, the more fruition that we have from the bilateral relations with Israel, the more others would be encouraged to join, but the more people would be involved in the development of their country and the prosperity of the wider region.